Lately, I have pondered a great deal about propaganda, in how we are surrounded by it every day. There is no avoiding it, despite any one person's best efforts. We are all trying to influence others in some way. It's inescapable. Propaganda, though, can lead us to believe lies that we want to be true. We all know this, but I'm talking of lies that sound too good to not be true. One such subject, for which I believe this applies, is slavery. I've come to believe that traditional slavery was a better system than the wage slavery we have today. In fact, I've come to believe that the institution of slavery itself is not inherently evil. Finally, I've come to believe that slavery can never truly disappear in any society. It is simply that more clever methods of enslavement replace the traditional form of slavery. Traditional slavery involves very real, tangible methods to keep slaves obedient and productive. Wage slavery involves methods that are invisible and psychological, but equally as effective, and are in fact cheaper to the slave owner. For what is required to own traditional slaves? The slave owner must provide the slave housing, food, clothing, and health care entirely out of his own pocket. These essentials are provided to the slave because they have to be. The very nature of slavery is that slaves must be provided for. They are an investment, and as with all investments, there is a desired return on investment. It does a slave owner no good to cause serious harm to his slave. To believe that slave owners have always beaten their slaves excessively or senselessly is purely propaganda that we have been conditioned to believe about the institution. Slaves cannot work optimally or at all if they are excessively harmed. The more that a slave was damaged, the less work they could do, and thus the less of a return on the investment for the slave owner. Wage slavery, on the other hand, takes whatever evils may be inherent to slavery itself and both amplifies them and makes them invisible, because they are psychological. In modern times, we are whipped, we are beaten, and we are punished by our corporate slave owners, and we believe it is ethical because we don't feel the punishments directly on our bodies. Corporations pay workers the minimal amount that they can get away with. Corporations do not pay for our housing, food, clothing, or health care. Because if we work with a specific corporation long enough, they will provide us some discounts on these essentials, but certainly never wholesale. Whatever they provide us, be it benefits, stock options, or discounts, I guarantee you that they offer these things at no serious cost to the corporation itself. If anything, these benefits are a means for the corporation to get away with paying you even less. For example, if they offer to have a portion of your paycheck go to buying company stock, that is merely gifting shares to you, but not one dime left the corporation's coffers to give you those shares. A stock is only as valuable as the price a buyer is willing to pay you for it, and that buyer is almost never the corporation itself. And it's always a gamble whether or not that stock will be worth more money over time. With wage slavery, if you underperform, they reprimand or fire you. If you damage company property, you risk being fired. None of these punishments are unethical on their own. I would fire an employee who is careless with my company's property too. But punishment is still punishment, and you are still dependent on your work to survive, living paycheck to paycheck. Your survival is not the corporation's concern, for you are replaceable no matter how much you believe you're not. In their eyes, you are not a person, you're not even an investment, you are merely a machine that needs a restroom break once in a while. We believe this is not slavery because we are paid, but we are still punished for failure, and were not even adequately provided for. Traditional slaves were punished for failure, but they were adequately provided for. Traditional slave owners had to care about your well-being because you were expensive to buy and expensive to keep.